Welcome back. The show's called Brand Equity and I'm Sonali Krishna. Ronnie Screwvala is a man who needs no introduction and his entrepreneurial journey is truly applaudable. Founder of one of India's largest media and entertainment conglomerates, Ronnie Screwvala, apart from focusing on his new ventures these days, also penned a book on his journey which encapsulates his days from cable TV to toothbrush manufacturing and from theatre to media and entertainment. Titled Dream with Your Eyes Open, the book aims to champion entrepreneurship in the country. Well, I caught up with Ronnie to quiz him about his book, flash back a little, and of course, fast forward a bit to find out what this maverick is looking to build in the future. Take it away. Thank you so much for joining us, Ronnie. Truly a pleasure to be meeting you in your new avatar.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me here.
So let's start with your book, Dream with Your Eyes Open. A very apt name for a man like you. So give me a gist of why you thought this was a pertinent name.
So I guess when you say apt, from the little that you know of me, I think it's more about me always looking at things with an eye open and feet on the ground. So I think that was really how the name came about. I think my primary motivation for writing the book was, as I was sort of moving out of media and entertainment, I sort of introspected and looked at entrepreneurship as a whole and what I did when I was 20 years back.
Sure. And
how difficult it was then, not just to get into and start your own business, but even the concept of entrepreneurship and how it was. And I felt that in 20 years things have moved, but yet not moved so much.
Okay.
And I think overall family behavior still needs to go to the next level where entrepreneurship needs to be evangelized. I think people are still very scared, deeply scared of fear of failure, whereas actually that's just a momentum to move forward on. So some of these were my triggers for trying to write a book which I think could inspire and bring clarity to various people at various stages. You could be 25 to 30 and looking for that crossroad. You could be 35 to 40 and either be a professional in your organization and thinking, should I look at entrepreneurship? Or you could have been 10 years into entrepreneurship and are now looking at the next level of scaling or brand building or exits or whatever else.
Just to go back in time, did you never have the pressure of, getting a salary every month to fend for yourself? Because, not a lot of people, even if they want to, things that hold them back is, the fact that they would need some amount of assured income every month to just
you're right.
run their
I
ship.
think that makes a difference. And I have to say, even if I flash back to 20 years, I didn't feel that pressure. But was the pressure there? Of course it was there.
Yeah.
And I think for the next 20 years, I don't think I drew too much of a rich salary either, as one is building up a business in various stages. So I think the pressure was there. I didn't feel it. I don't know why, but I didn't feel it. And I think that's part to do with the ownership of what you want to do and where you want to grow. So if you want to bootstrap, you'll bootstrap. If you want to cut your coat according to your cloth, you'll cut your coat according to your cloth. And just if I can add to that, even today when I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, and they say, well, I'm not getting funded or I've not got this. And I'm looking for a 10 crore investment. And I'm saying, okay, what about a 50 lakh investment? And they said, well, no, because I'm asking for a 10 crore investment. So I said, but is anyone giving it to you? Because they're not, then cut your quote as 50 lakhs and move forward and start a business and build it step by step. So I think there's a difference between feeling the pressure and to that extent having that pressure.
Right. So, things have, come a long way since you started your journey in terms of just people looking at, starting up in a much more favorable light. But give me your sense of, the quality of entrepreneurs you see today across spaces, across sectors. So do you actually see, this whole flurry of wanting to start up and be your own boss as in terms of the quality of startups and the quality of people who are doing it as a good sign, or do you think we have miles to go?
I think we're still at base camp. I know people think we're an entrepreneurial country,
Sure.
but we're not.
Sure.
Actual physical ranking, we're in the 150th of the entrepreneurial nations. A country like Israel is much more entrepreneurial than us, and you wouldn't think so as a normal, usual suspect. You think US would be there, but it's right up there from that. And I think, again, coming back to one of the key issues is, are we really looking at staying the course? Are we looking at being there for the next 20 to 30 years? See, because my favorite quote in my own book is that entrepreneurship is a journey. It's not an outing. I mean, you can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I think I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to give it 2 years, Dad, or I'm going to give it 2 years, me, or whatever else, and see how it goes. It won't work that way. Because that 2 years could be part of the reasons where you if you're giving it 2 years, chances are you'll never be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And I think that's the difference.
Right. But just the little that I know of you and just looking at, the myriad of businesses that you have delved in, etc. You're just the kind of person who's just always been really sure of himself, has had a very straight vision, and really extremely fearless. I wouldn't say that of majority of us lot, and when I say us lot, I'm really talking about Indians, because fear of failure is a very big deal. Society pressure is a very big deal. We're not really free liberal thinkers as a community. So given that, I'm saying in your book, to look at your story, the fact is you had a lot of core strengths to begin with. How are you tackling that in terms of actual mindset change for the Indians at large?
Yeah, so firstly, I think there's a key and clear differentiation. I'm starting with the fact that I was born, and my first chapter says from Grant Road to Breach Candy. So I started in a lower middle class background.
Grant Road is still town.
Grant Road can be anything it wants to be, but it's still, and what I'm saying is at a very lower middle class.
Right.
I don't think for the first 5 years of my building any of the businesses, there was no ecosystem to fund me. So everything was based on making the cash flow work for itself. And I think I deal with a fair amount of that at that early stage. I think this question of confidence versus non-confidence is something that builds up and grows with you. It's not something that I was to the manner born. There is no situation here that gave me a certain sense of privilege for that confidence and clarity. And third, my book actually deals with a lot more failures than it deals with anything else, including the fact that in college, I came in with supreme confidence from school, jumped a year because I'd done exceptionally well in school into the second year, and boom, I thought, nothing's going to stop me here and now, and I failed.
What are you saying?
Yes, I failed in my inter-college in that context. Hard to believe. And, those are the things that teach you a different kind of grounding that takes you, puts you a few pegs down, but gives you a lot more clarity afterwards. So for most people, you would feel that's the end of it. It's going to be on my CV for life and whatever else. So I guess I took the shortcut at that stage. What if I don't need to have a CV?
I'm really curious to know about your latest one, again in the media space, which is the digital venture, where you've got Ajay Chako and Sai Kumar also on board. If you can give me a sense of, everybody's doing digital and talking digital, but we're not really sure, how many of those will really be successful models. But give me a sense of what you're betting on, what your pitch, and what we'll see of it in time to come.
So I'm deeply committed and involved in the fact that I think digital is the next future of how many things are going to get consumed or used and utilized in this country. And so therefore our full educational vertical, before I get into the digital, is also digital. It's all online. So to me, it's the digital space, in education being one of them, where one can be extremely disruptive. Because if you do brick and mortar, you can't really, you have to go by the book in many aspects. So that's what we're doing in education in the digital space. In the other digital space, specifically with Sai and Ajay, the idea is to look at the entire gamut and look at the next trend of what's going to happen. I think the differentiator for us is it needs to be very strongly opinionated. It needs to come with a view. From a business hat perspective, I think a lot of players are in this field right now. But like many things in India, people come to a certain level and then don't know where to go to the next level.
Sure.
And I think the team that we've put together and the team we're going to put together in the second round that we will in the next 1 month will show that actually scalable opportunity is the differentiating factor.
No, but that's very vague, Ronnie. I mean, I'm saying what's the concept?
I'm not going to share with you all of the plans that are there. So just to put that as a caveat, okay. but there's no sandbox.
Okay.
But I think in the context of content, it's opinionated. So if I can just use one word, which is emotion. Okay, and if you look at that, suddenly you won't look at the sandbox that says, is it news, is it entertainment, is it X, is it Y? I'm going to say whatever is going to tug our core audience with emotion. And that could be information, it could be opinionated, it could be terrorism, it could be fiction, it could be whatever we want it to be. Now I know that sounds even vaguer than my first sentence, but actually that's what it is.
On that note, all the very best, Ronnie, for the launch of your book.
Thank you.
And of course your several ventures.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.